Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the Byzantines. I'm bringing you a build order on how to play fast castle with the Byzantines into Longbows and Varangian Guard. This is a turtle build order to get to the castle, and then with olive groves, get yourself that olive oil to build up a nice army, 50-50 Longbows and Varangian Guard. So the first things you're going to be doing is you're going to be sending your first 5 villagers to food and then 1 to build cistern and a house. The house is going to be placed opposite direction of the berries, and you'd like to get as many resources with the first cistern as possible. Most important is the berries early, and so try to see if you can manage that. The second cistern will make up for your missing resources. Build the house over here instead of towards the berries, so we save on farm space later. As said before, we want to get as much oil as possible, which means we need a lot of space around our winery, which is our H2 landmark. We're going to be doing a 7-3 split here, so you go up to 7 and then you go 3 on gold. After that, what you're going to be doing is you're going to send the rest to food until you can age up. Quite simple, standard opener. When you scout, if you have 3 sheep, then try to be back with sheep at 2 minutes again. If you have more than 3 sheep, then you will be able to go for a longer scouting route, as I'm doing right here. I think I managed to get 1 more, the one that's right here. And so for 4 sheep, this is a lot easier. 3 in gold, and then obviously we have the rest going to food now. We're going to be building our grand winery over here. What we want to be doing is have the grand winery at the berries so that it can buff up our berries and we can get more olive oil. We need the olive oil for longbows. And what is really nice about the olive oil is you can use it without actually gathering it, because you're not intentionally gathering olive oil. So you're not really wasting idle time on it. And then you're getting defensive units that are good for defending, obviously. And so you get to Castle Age really nicely without even having to pay for anything. This also means that your olive groves are a lot easier on your tempo, because you won't slow down as much from going early farms. So this build doesn't really utilize as many pocket resources as you see other Byzantine builds do normally. What your splits are going to be here when you macro for the Feudal Age, so you just got enough resources to go feudal, is now going to be 4 in food, just so you can get the villager production, and then 3 in gold, because what we want to be doing is to get as many upgrades as possible. You want as many upgrades as possible, eco upgrades and then military upgrades, plus more utility upgrades like border settlements here from the house, giving you more line of sight so you can defend easier by having that vision. Then after you have gotten all the upgrades, you're going to be macroing to castle, and you should have about 10 olive groves. I'll show you what that looks like in a bit. So the macro is 4 in food, 3 in gold, 8 on wood, and then you go back to food after. And then when you're ready to go castle, you feel you're safe to do it, you put a lot of villagers on gold, about 10, and then you're going to have a good time going to castle. Drop the sheep off. I've started gathering here from the berry bushes early on, and I mistime it a little bit, so you can start doing this at about 3:30. You're going to be aged up at about 3:47, 3:48. So do it about that. Here I mistime it a little bit, but it's okay. All that matters is that we do not have idle time on our TC. So I do a little drop off here, and then I manage to get that villager production going. Now I send the villagers out. I have 8 on food here, and then I send 1 villager to build a house. The other ones stay on the wood line, and now I just keep rallying wood. I think I have 9 here, but you want to have 8 on food and then rest to wood. Keep scouting. Figure out what your opponent's going to do, if they're going to be aggressive or not, because it's a pivotal moment here, early feudal, what you spend your first wood on. Are you going to spend your wood on a tower? Are you going to spend it on a mercenary camp or a barracks? That's your decision. So if you're up against something like opposite military wing, there'll be 2 archers and 2 spearmen immediately, and your longbows won't be out in time to defend against it. There, it can be a good idea to make a tower, especially if you have front spawning berries. So if you have front spawning berries, your berries are your most important resource, because you want to get longbows out. But if you're up against a knight civ, you want to go for a barracks so you can get limited out and defend against knights. Your longbows will come out in time to defend against archers, for example. But if there's nothing immediate then you're going to be absolutely fine just waiting for the longbows, and therefore you go for the mercenary house. Try to use normal houses around your resources to get more vision, and clever walling so that you don't have to deal with raids as much. That makes it easier to defend, especially because you're going to be defending with longbows. Now, longbows have a high damage, but they're very vulnerable to cavalry, so try to use them behind walls. Alright. So now we have our opponent in Feudal Age as well, so what you should be doing is you should check out what they're doing, right? Here I'm trying to figure out, is he going to go Hippodrome or is he going to go Winery? If he goes Winery, I'm going to expect him to go Spear Javelins, but if he goes Hippodrome, I'm going to expect him to go Horsemen Longbows, for example. That's a typical way you'd see Byzantines being played here. I think the best way to play them is this still, even in the mirror matchup. Alright. Now's a good time to get the second cistern, get the mercenary house, and you're going to be going for the longbow contract. I've tried to go for the javelin one. The javelin one is also very, very good, so both are viable. But I think the longbows are better in terms of just in general dealing with more heavy units. And it makes you able to go for Varangian Guard and the longbows. Instead of limited javelins into crossbow siege and stuff, you can just do Varangian Guard and longbow only. Because longbows are also good at dealing with small amounts of siege, like one mangonel, for example. Alright. I've got the 8 on food now. The reason we have 8 on wood, is because we need the walls, of course, but we also want to make olive groves. Try to make the olive groves in between the Winery and the TC, so that you have that safe space here, where you can easier garrison and defend in general. I spot my enemy here. He's gone for 2 olive groves and a barracks, and I don't have horsemen, so I think this is a good thing for me, because my longbows will counter the spearmen. Right. TC now rallying onto the berries. You can see I'm starting to build the olive groves. Just wanting to build them within the vicinity of the Grand Winery and within the vicinity of the cistern influence. Try to get all the upgrades. I queued up wheelbarrow instantly as I got to feudal. Then I've gotten double broadaxe, and now I'm doing forestry. I'm also going to get the house upgrade. I've also gotten the mining upgrade already. You're wanting to get these upgrades because they scale super well with the Byzantines, because you get so much value from just your farms, for example. They gather at a very high rate, and it seems that you get almost the same as a boar when it's under cistern influence, and you have the bonus of oil and stuff. So really, really worth it. Plus, they're easy to set up. Only 60 wood cost. Alright. As you might notice, it's kind of late for me to get defensive units out. This is something I can do because he hasn't opened up with aggression. Right, so I have enough time to get the longbows out. They came out about 6:45, 6:30, 6:40. You can get this a little bit quicker if you focus a little bit more on the olive oil early, but you can see I went more for farms. This is a decision you have to make based on intuition. How early am I going to see aggression, if all, right? If it's going to be very early, just do as I explained before with towers, barracks, or mercenary camp. Alright. So now we have a good amount of olive groves. We're also starting to stack a lot of food. So I've moved a few more villages over to gold. And I've started to do something here with my longbows. I moved them out, but not too far out to not be able to go back in the base without dying, for example, to cavalry. The reason I do this is because longbows have a really good vision. So it's almost the same as a scout. And so what it means is that you can take this longbow and then go out on the sides here. This is something you should watch out for if you're not super good at multitasking and just having that awareness, but it's something you can practice. Use the longbows, get that extra vision, and therefore you can save on towers, for example. He pushes me with spears and cavalry, and the longbows, because they have 1 more ranged damage, are really good at dealing with stuff like armored units such as Keshiks here. I set up a wall over here. I have a small wall here as well, just to eliminate that extra vulnerability here in the wood line, because it is a front wood line. Again, longbows go a little forward, scout in the front of it, so we can see into the stealth forest, and then just try to see, are there units that we can pick off. We're just playing defensively here. I'm getting horticulture now. This is my last upgrade. And then I'm trying to get this wall over here. This is where I lose my villager. So he comes around with Keshiks first. So try to see if you can move around and then get the wall set up without getting harassed too much here. You can see he drags me into the forest here. I don't see this. My villager idles, and then you lose your villager. Watch out for these things. But then notice how the longbows, without upgrades, My opponent doesn't have upgrades either, but 3 ranged armor. Just got the +4 ranged armor right here, so to speak. Now I have 10 longbows. They are actually able to deal with these knight raids. And it's not like you want them to go up face to face against them, but when you can take shots with your longbows, especially once they get the +1s and +2s, they start to do better and better against these armored units. I put the tower up because I can't be everywhere at once, especially if I'm getting raided, and then I'm just focusing on getting this wall up and running here. I'm also making another wall up here with a lot of villagers, so I don't have another vulnerable side here. Now I've put 10 to gold. You want to have a lot of villagers when you go into Castle Age because you need a lot of upgrades. Remember, we go to Castle for 3 reasons. One of the reasons could be you have an army, and that army you want to upgrade. The second reason is you want to get, for example, armored units out, so you want to unlock a new tier of units. And the third reason is you want to get relics. Here, we're wanting to do all 3 things. This is not a timing attack. This is just the way our economy scales. So we go to the next age, we get enough stone for a 3rd cistern. We start taking relics, getting more oil. I think it's like 280 or 240 oil we get from 3 relics inside the Grand Winery. And you can make the monks immediately on Castle Age. So you want to save at least 150 gold for that, plus upgrades for your longbows. Alright. Now, got the wall set up over here. We're building a blacksmith. We're switching this one to Dialecticus because we want to increase our research rate here. We need to get +1 ranged attack and +2 ranged attack, plus the longbow upgrade, because our longbows get a large power spike here. It makes it a lot easier for us to defend, and with towers and the Acrotoid defense, dealing with raids and all-ins on Castle Age up is a lot easier for the Byzantines compared to other civs. Hence why I think this is a really good fast castle civ, because you don't die on those early pushes. You have free units and you have villagers that are quite sturdy. I don't even have textiles here, but I don't lose more than, I think, 1 or 2 villagers on his big push that's going to come around in a moment. So he's going to see me age up to age 3. And then notice how the upgrades are coming through. I'm going to get the veteran contract, so I canceled the longbows I was building. I switched this to Dialecticus, and I'm going to get this contract in 15 seconds from now. Plus, I'm going to get the +2 ranged attack. And now my longbows will get up to, let's see how much it's going to be. I think it's going to be 9 or 8. There it comes through. It's going to be 10 damage, actually, coming through from the +2 ranged attack, meaning when a unit has 4 ranged armor, they still take 6, and this is a massive amount of damage. So you can see the spearmen now being pushed back, and this is now a really good position for me. I'm starting to build my next few longbows. Remember to switch back to Conscriptio. You don't want to have Dialecticus for any other time than when you're doing your upgrades. Alright. This is a pivotal moment in the game. This is where we have a push coming and we are trying to stabilize after that push. Here you'll see movement around the buildings. You'll see how I'm prioritizing just in general the Keshiks and horsemen. But if the horsemen come on the villagers, the Acrotoid defense comes in because they get extra damage towards cavalry. So just use your villagers here. Use the longbows. Notice the damage output from the longbows. Really, really good damage output. A few limits and they will get the job done here. Acrotoid defense gets popped, and then the villagers here will now be able to defend. I pop it right here. Now the villagers, I lose 1 villager here, but that is definitely still a good outcome. A couple longbows, a new set of longbows came out over here. Garrison inside of the TC, and then you have defended the push. This doesn't get much worse than this. This is Kiljardi, and he's one of the best players in the world currently. He was ranked 3 on ladder last season, and is a really good tournament player too. He knows what he's doing, and this was tough for him to attack. So this is a really solid way to think about your defense, using longbows and villager defense. And if you want to be even more safe, get textiles. Alright. Now we have transitioned into the Castle Age. We're castle, we have olive groves, we're bringing back the first relic, 3rd cistern is up, and now we're switching in to our main composition. Our goal is to build a lot of Varangian Guard and longbows. We want to get +2 ranged armor, so +1 coming in right now, then +2 after. And then we're going to be able to get a lot of units, because all of our oil units are longbows, and our oil income, let's switch it around, it's about 200 per minute currently. But we have just had a lot of downtime, so it's actually higher than that. then our barracks units are the only units we really need to gather for. Keep in mind, Varangian Guard are much more expensive on the gold front, so try to get a lot of villagers on gold. That's going to be very much necessary when you're starting to produce. The good thing about the Byzantines is when it does come to production, our systems do buff up our barracks by a lot. So here we're almost at 100%. This is 80%. Sorry, 60%. Means that every barracks is a lot more efficient. And you don't need as much production, meaning more units. Got our second relic coming, third relic coming through. This is the second one, third relic here. Use your longbows, try to get the relics back home safely. I managed to get 4 relics this game. If you get a 4th one that doesn't fit in the Winery, just build another mosque. Alright. Outpost in the front here for the vision. And now we're starting to pump Varangian Guard. Limited and longbows. Got the +2 ranged armor. And now we're starting to think about a push. I lost my scout before. Get a new scout. You always want a scout. On a map like Highview, it's even more important. But always have a scout as a rule of thumb. I'm walling the bottom side here because there's a lot of resources down here I need. I will probably need a second gold every single time I play this build. It's something I've experienced. So try to make sure you at least have a second gold to go to. This is a very gold heavy build in terms of upgrades and your units cost. Here I take a little bit of a mediocre fight. And that's because he has a lot of Varangian Guard. They're quite good against army units. And then he has a lot of Keshiks. So I take a mediocre fight here, he defends, and the game goes on. But the good thing for me is, if we take a look at the incomes, they are quite similar currently. We will have a lot of oil coming through compared to him though. And so the oil gives us a lot of units. Basically with 600 oil per minute, we're getting more than 5 longbows per minute. So in 4 minutes, that's 20 longbows. So replenishing this army is not a big deal. You see, he takes a mediocre fight, so he can't push me. And I can actually defend this quite well because I have longbows coming out. New set of longbows, more Varangian Guard and Limited, and then just try to build more olive groves to increase that olive output. I took the sacred site up here, and now I'm getting my second monastery, so I can drop my relic inside. Pushing a little bit forward again here, trying to see if I can get some more picks, and then overall try to find the last relic. He's building a lot more olive groves is what I'm paying attention to right here. I managed to kill a couple of vills, so now we have both killed 3 villagers. See the Ghulams, they're not doing particularly well against the longbows. And now I push a little bit too far here again. So there's a lot of skirmishes going on. Meanwhile, he's raiding me at the bottom. Have a lot of units coming out, so these are going to take care of that. Here I send a few Varangian Guard after the villagers. Kill 1 monk there. And then I'm being pushed again. I have a few units to defend, so this is not too bad. But overall, you need to get used to kiting a lot with the longbows. They're really good at kiting, but they're quite slow. Take care of this raid here. And then just see if you can keep expanding your economy. You will not need multiple town centers for this build, because your olive oil income is gonna deal with that, meaning you get a lot more units. This also means that you have to play really active, meaning if you're approaching 200 out of 200 population castle, you're going Imperial. And you will do that a lot quicker than other civs because you have olive oil coming through. Alright. We're now going back again. And got a little bit of raid here. I've done chop through so he manages to get out. But I'm still absolutely fine. Alright. So I managed to kill 7 workers here. He's killed 3 workers. We have 4 relics. We have a full olive oil setup. And we're getting twice as much olive oil as he is because of our relics. We're getting 240 olive oil. Now what we're going to do is connect our 4th cistern. And then build some more production. And then just try to get more units out. What we're looking for now is either one more good fight, possibly trying to end the game, or go for an Imperial Age timing. If you're going for an Imperial Age timing, then it's because you'll reach this stalemate point where you're not going to die from going Imperial. He doesn't just walk into your base. So don't go for Imperial if you're in a situation where you just took a bad fight. Do it if you know you can survive. which typically means you want to approach the 200 out of 200. Here, I have enough to go next age. You can choose to go for 2 landmarks, of course, Palatine School or the Foreign Engineering Company. It doesn't matter too much. I think the Palatine School is really, really good if you're spamming Varangian Guards or Limitane. But the Foreign Engineering Company is really good for dealing with very, very late game situations. And just in general, I don't think any of them are bad necessarily. Both are very good. All right, a little bit of raids coming through here. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to transition my gold. Getting a little bit of stone here for the 5th cistern. You see, all of my cisterns I've gotten just from building and constructing. And so this is all passive stone. If you gather for the cisterns, you slow yourself down. So you don't want to do that. Just get them naturally. All right. We're now Imperial. Imperial Age is something we did in this game because we needed to get a timing. The timing is to get the elite contract for the Longbows. Then after that, we get the Varangian Guard contract. Sorry, the Varangian Guard Veterancy upgrade. So you can see our split right now is 28 on food, 24 on gold. So it's about 50-50, and that's because we need so many upgrades, but also because most of our units cost a lot of gold. Olive oil is all of our longbows, so yeah. We also need to get the +3 on our longbows. And now I'm expecting him to push me. Again, if you lose a scout, make a new one. Here he pushes me. He has a ton of ghulams, 19. He has 17 Varangian Guard, 30 crossbows. Really solid composition. What he's missing though is the range from my longbows. So you can see the range here is being really solid. He deals with that with a mangonel. But I want you to pay attention to how I deal with the mangonel here. Just charge it with your infantry if possible, and if your opponent stands on top of the mangonel, use your longbows. I've got 6 Landsknechts here that are elite. They came out of the Golden Horn Tower. I never made the Landsknechts. Alright. Here comes the push. We just upgraded our Varangian Guard to elite. Our longbows are also elite. So now we're going to try to take a good fight here. Longbows whittle down the mangonel. Really good DPS here. So you can see that just goes down. And then after, in a fight like this, try to take small groups of like 10. Try to see if you can grab them like this. And then shift-click crossbows. Do that with most of your longbows so you can take these out because they are the only threat here. Your main threat is crossbows because you are running Varangian Guard. We take a good fight here because we have Imperial Age upgrades, and he activates Berserking, decreasing his armor. And since we're running longbows, we now deal up to 12 damage -1. So 11 damage coming out from our longbows onto his Varangian Guard. So watch out with using it yourself. Use this when you're in situations where there are not stuff like ranged units. Because then you take a lot of damage from those ranged units with Berserking. we're getting +3 ranged armor, and we've basically won the game now. We're Imperial, and our opponent is in castle with only 1 relic and no army left, so the game is over. And there it is. All right. I hope you guys have enjoyed this build order. As usual, the build order is linked down in the description where you can check it out. And if you have any questions about the build or seek any further guidance, just text me down in the comment section below. I'll do my best to answer those questions. And I wish you guys a good day, evening, wherever you're at. Ciao.